Hey there, blade fans. Welcome back to a special review. I know I've been saying that a lot lately. The reason this is special is I had no expectation of buying this knife. I did see a couple of sneak peeks over the past couple weeks from other reviewers on YouTube, but I happened to be cruising my local gun store the other day, and they are a Benchmade dealer, have a big showcase of Benchmade knives, one of those turnstile things. And this jumped right out at me. I said, I know that knife. So, long story short, salesman shows it to me, mess around with it a little bit, and I say, okay, I'll buy it. And I do know they have a return policy. So, if I don't like it for any reason, I believe it got at least a couple of weeks to get it back to them, as long as there's no wear. Anyway, this is the Shootout by Benchmade, a new OTF that is unlike their other OTFs. Their other OTFs from Benchmade are kind of like quite a few of the Microtech OTFs, and that is they're double-edged. This has a few things different going for it, actually quite a few things different going for it, and I hope to cover all of those points. First of all, it's a single edge with a high grind. It's wider than most double-edged out the front knives. It has a asymmetrical handle, more like a conventional liner lock or frame lock folder. And it is made of Cru-Wear, also known as CPM-CruWear. You can barely see that because this does have a blade coating, which is PVD, and that is a vapor applied under, I think, negative pressure. I looked at a few of the PVD infos on different websites, and kind of that's what I surmise. It's a coating that bonds molecularly to the metal. Now, what exact type of coating it is in that vapor application is a, here's the definition. I had to go look it up. Physical vapor deposition, PVD. It is a coating known as a thin film coating in a process where solid material is vaporized into a vacuum and deposited onto the surface of the part. Now, so I'm taking PVD to be the process. This isn't branded as a DLC coating, which is referred to as a diamond-like coating. Probably isn't, and at least one other reviewer used it for a little bit and noticed a little bit of wear. All coatings are going to wear, so I'll leave the coating part at that. It is a flat earth, or what I used to call flat dark earth color, kind of a bronze brown looking color, and it is very flat, so it's not polished and it's not satin. I'm going to go over some of the specs, and then we're going to talk about the knife. And as a departure today, I am simply going to read the specs from the Benchmade information. So this Shootout out the front knife has a blade length of 3.51 inches. It has a blade thickness of 2.54 millimeters or 0.10 inches. The open length is 8.22 inches or 20.88 centimeters. Closed length is 4.71. Handle thickness is 0.51. And the weight is 2.8 ounces. You heard me right, 2.8 ounces. And a little bit about the Cru-Wear. This is hardened to 93 to 95 Rockwell, according to a Benchmade. So you guys like a high HRC, you've got it here. And it does come through very, very sharp. So I think with that hardness, you're not going to be sharpening it too often, even with some heavy use. So let's take a look around and, you know, open and close it a few times. Put that up near the mic. Definitely a very clean thwack. There was at least one other reviewer who had an issue with the quality control on his copy, and that is sad to see that any of those are out there. There was a opening in the seam of the two halves. Apparently the screws were loose. My copy, open and close rapidly. No problem whatsoever, and I'm happy about that, because I've got a local place to bring it right back to if it weren't good. Now it's got a deep carry clip, and it is one that doesn't have that coating on it that wears off too quick, so I like that. It's their traditional Benchmade clip. Anchors in 2 points, and it is switchable to the other side of the knife. Notice that you have 3 holes for the screws, so you could put their standard clip on there that has the 3-hole access. You only use 2 of those holes on the deep carry clips because you couldn't get to a 3rd one there. You can see that's folded over. You can also see that we have what I believe is an aluminum mount here with a hardened carbide glass breaker embedded in it, and that guy got a little bit of a point to it, but it is not sharp, and it's for the most part in the pocket. It's out of the way. Let's talk about the blade for a second or two and back out so we can catch focus here. The blade is a high flat grind with a tanto double grind to it. So we have that definite point of demarcation there between this relative flat with a little bit of a curve to it and the secondary belly or secondary grind on the knife. So 3.5 inches, 2.5 millimeters thick, 1/2 inch across on the handle, very slim, and the material that the handle is made of is a carbon fiber reinforced nylon, said to be at least twice the structural strength of something like a Grivery or a GRN or an FRN. You can hear how hard that is. Now at 2.8 ounces, when you first pick this knife up, you say, oh God, it's a toy, it's cheap, it's junk. The funny thing is how we relate weight to quality. You can go get a garage, what do they call it? A garage knife, gas station knife, whatever, that's $10, and it'll weigh a ton. It'll be out of pot metal, and you know, it'll just be an anchor. And I don't know, does that feel more quality? Does that feel more substantial? Perhaps it does. You know, maybe that's what you're looking for. This one is feather light, and the reason for the design is for first responders, police, military. I would say a light to moderate use knife, not a real heavy duty knife, but something you can get open quick and use. Cut a seat belt, defend yourself, cut something, cut a piece of rope. I think I said seat belt, right? All of that. And it is grippy. So you've got the ergos, you've got a little bit of a palm swell there. You've got some chamfering along the edges to make it comfortable. And you've got this crazy pattern in here that the closest thing to it is like grip tape or something that stippling that you might have had done to your Glock pistol, something like that. I went online and chatted with somebody from Benchmade through a chat session because I was curious as to what the actuator was made out of, and it is aluminum. With that dark earth coating on it, it almost looked kind of plasticky. It is not, it's aluminum. And the action of this is very smooth. Fires definitively, and again, it feels like paper, literally, in the hand. So if you are looking for something that is, you're not even going to know is in the pocket or stashed or clipped anywhere else on your person, I would even put this in a, with it being point down, I could even put this in a shirt pocket and you wouldn't even know it's there. It's probably about the same weight as most pens, maybe even lighter. It's a useful size. It is readily accessible in a moment of stress. The whole idea is you grab it, you push it out, and you have a knife. Nothing to fidget with, just slide that actuator. If you needed to use it either closed or open to break a window in an emergency, that's a very defined piece of carbide there they have for the glass breaker. Another look around. The seams are pretty tight on this one. Almost can't see them. And one other thing, and this is important too, it's a completely centered blade. It is not offset, such as something like the Hogue Compound. As you can see, and we'll start putting these out for size comparisons. It is not offset like the Autocrat by Benchmade. Or is that offset? Ooh, I made a mistake. The Autocrat is dead center also. Where is the one other knife that I brought out for comparison? And here it is. Yes, the Dirac by Microtech. And there is a good example of an offset blade. And a lot of people don't mind. Some people do. But I thought that was an interesting factoid. That we have the Autocrat with a dead center blade. We have the Hogue with a slightly offset blade. And we have the Shootout with a dead center blade and the Microtech Dirac with an off-center blade. So there they are for size comparison. Let's see. Obviously the Dirac is going to be a small guy. It's one of the originals, by the way, with the black and satin blade. This one's in CTS XHP, I believe. But here's the Benchmades on the top and the bottom. Pretty much in the ballpark with the Hogue. The longest one, if we don't consider the glass breaker apparatus on the Shootout, the Hogue is slightly longer, and the Autocrat is also, it's a little longer, about maybe a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch overall. Now, Here's another knife for comparison that is a Benchmade. This is the Claymore I picked up recently. So for comparison with the Claymore, obviously an out the side knife, the Claymore is about, if we go blade is, if we go right to there, yeah, about a 1/2 inch longer-ish. That would make it 4 inches. It's really not 4 inches. It's more like 3.6, 3.65. But it's a slightly larger knife. Still lightweight, however, because of the use of the molded GRN or Grivery, I believe is what they are using. They're using Grivery on the bug outs, as far as I can tell. Here is another out the side knife for comparison. Another Benchmade. This is the Mediator, and that's a smaller knife overall. It's not as tall. It is shorter. The blade is a bit shorter, and also a lightweight knife. This one's out of G10. Now all of these have steel frames. I did ask that question of Benchmade when I had them online. And the name for the handle material is CF Elite, so Carbon Fiber Elite. So rather than having your fiberglass threads inside, it has carbon fiber. How far different that is, I am not sure. So I am not a materials expert. I know what I'm told. I know what I've looked up and researched. And did I say how grippy this was? Yes, I think I did. It is just, you aren't going anywhere. It's like skateboard tape, whatever you want to call it, friction tape, stair tape. Absolutely grippy. You rub it enough, you're actually going to begin wearing off skin, and it's going to lighten up that patch. So if we're holding it this way, you're not slipping, you're not going anywhere. Even if your finger is wrapped around here and placed on the back of the blade, you're not going anywhere. Although this is a bit of a tall standing actuator. If we look at the actuator on the Hogue for comparison, let's close them both up because I don't feel like getting cut on camera. You can see that that stands a bit more proud than the Hogue. So I'm liking the knife. It's probably going to see some EDCing, and I'll probably do a follow-up video. I'm assuming I'm keeping it. CPM-CruWear for the blade, 93 to 95 Rockwell. CF Elite for the handle, steel frame inside, and just a beautiful, beautiful invention by Benchmade. Think what you like about the Benchmade knife company. And I'm not disparaging them, but there's been some people that don't exactly love them. But I think this is a fine example of innovation. And hope you enjoy this review. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. Be back with you soon.